Before we go any further, I want to start with something important. What you're about to see is confidential. This material represents internal thinking, language, and structure that has not been publicly released. It's not meant to be recorded, distributed, or shared outside of this setting. We're opening the door to something early, and that requires trust. My name is Steve Koleno, and what I'm sharing today more on open access. It's the first clear articulation of how open access works, how it thinks, and how it changes the role of the advisor. This isn't the polished final form. It's the true starting point. The goal here is not to teach tactics or scripts. Goal 1 is to begin sharing the core concepts behind open access, how we move away from persuasion and toward clarity, how we redefine the advisor as a guide, and how we build a system around decision-making instead of selling. Open access was created to solve a real problem. People are overwhelmed, incentives are misaligned, and clarity has become rare. This system exists to bring clarity back and to do it in a way that earns trust instead of forcing outcomes. Welcome to Confidential Remarks. This guide isn't meant to inspire you for a day and then get forgotten. It's infrastructure. It's the foundation for how open access advisors are trained, how they think, and how they act long after this session ends. If we want different outcomes in this industry, we can't just change scripts or tactics. We have to change the operating system behind the behavior. This is that upgrade. When mindset changes first, behavior actually sticks. The old model taught one thing really well: push harder, convince better, close faster. The open access model replaces that with something much more disciplined, listening better. This isn't about being passive or soft. It's about being precise. The moment a conversation starts to feel like persuasion, trust is already slipping. Our role isn't to move someone forward. It's to understand them so clearly that the next step makes sense on its own. Language reveals intent, and people feel intent long before they process words. For years, advisors were taught to use forceful language: close, pitch, overcome objections, lock it in. That language signals pressure, whether we mean it to or not. Open access replaces the hammer with a flashlight. We explore instead of close. We understand instead of pitch. We clarify instead of overcome. And we help people decide rather than trapping them in a decision. There's one rule that changes everything. If you're about to make a statement, ask a question first. Statements push direction. Questions create ownership. Instead of saying, "This is the best option," we ask, "What matters more to you here? Speed, cost, or control?" That shift immediately changes the power dynamic. Now, the decision is built around them, not us. Every strong advisory conversation follows the same flow. First, we understand. Then we clarify. Then we translate. And finally, we support. This isn't a script, it's a sequence. When you skip steps, confusion shows up later as hesitation or regret. When you follow the flow, people feel grounded instead of pressured. Understanding comes first. That means uncovering what actually matters to them, their values, priorities, and concerns. Only after that do we clarify. Clarifying means laying out the full landscape of options honestly and objectively. No steering, no narrowing, just clarity. When gathering is rushed, trust always pays the price later. Once options are clear, we translate. Translation means connecting technical choices to real life. What does this mean for their time, stress, risk, or future? Then we support. Support doesn't mean pushing. It means helping them choose at their own pace, without pressure. If urgency is real, clarity will create it naturally. After every interaction, we measure success with one simple test. Do they feel calmer? Do they feel clearer? Do they feel more confident? If any of those answers are no, the standard wasn't met. And there's one absolute failure state. if they feel rushed. Rush people don't trust, no matter how good the recommendation is. Every open access advisor commits to 3 non-negotiables. I will never pressure a decision. I will never hide an option. And I will always guide before I persuade. This isn't marketing language. It's a professional commitment, and it's what makes this system credible. This is the line we never cross. I will never protect my commission over someone's clarity. If there's ever a conflict between what benefits me and what helps them understand their choice, clarity wins every time. The moment that rule breaks, trust disappears, even if the deal closes. This system works because each piece has a job. The training guide shows how to scale. The Notion OS shows how to run. The playbook shows how to launch. Together, they create infrastructure. Not inspiration, not theory. Infrastructure that produces consistent behavior across people and teams. Open access is no longer just an idea. It's a system that teaches people how to decide, a system that trains advisors how to guide, and a system that finally puts the consumer first. When clarity becomes the product, trust becomes the outcome. And when trust leads, everything else follows. That's the standard. That's the commitment. And that's the future we're building together. This has been Confidential Remarks.